Hey everybody, welcome again to D-Man's Kitchen. Actually, I have not used that name before in any of my cooking videos, but I guess I may as well start doing it now. Anyway, welcome to D-Man's Kitchen, and today we're going to do a whole dinner, and super easy, awesome, and if you do this for other people, they're going to think you worked all day on it, when in actuality this is going to take us 2 hours, and we're not even going to be cooking the entire time. A lot of it is marinating time, time to wait for the charcoal to get ready, baking time. So prep time for this is 15 minutes maybe. So anyway, what we're doing today, we're going to do some barbecue bone-in pork chops. We're going to do some baked teriyaki mushrooms, and we're going to do some baked potatoes in the oven. Super easy. Stand by. Alright, we're going to start with the mushrooms because they actually take the longest. I'm using huge mushrooms. This is one that I cut in half, and it started out that big. So I cut it in half, but the majority of these in here are, about this size. These are actually just regular old stuffer mushrooms, that you can remove the caps and stuff them with stuff if you want. But anyway, I did run these under, just drizzle some cold water on them and just gently wipe them off to get rid of some of the soil and stuff that's on them from where they were grown. And we're going to start with just cut off some pads of butter or margarine. I would say about a half a stick. This is a 9x13 baking pan, and I've just put foil on the bottom of it. You don't have to do that, but I don't know, I usually do. It just makes cleanup easier. So anyway, for this I put in, let's see, I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pads of, or pats of butter, whatever you want to call it. And now we're just going to use some regular old teriyaki sauce. This is just Kroger brand. I mean, you can use the Kikkoman or whatever, and I'm going to put a generous amount of this. And we're doing this early because you want these mushrooms to marinate. But this is not something that you want these things to marinate overnight or anything, because mushrooms act like sponges. They will just soak this teriyaki sauce right up. So, I mean, having these things marinate in this dish for an hour is plenty. Plus, you're talking about the baking time, and they're going to bake in this mixture anyway. So, alright. And you want a little bit, standing in the bottom of the pan, but you don't want them floating. But, well, shit, I may as well just use the rest of that bottle. It's almost empty anyway. And there we go. Good enough. Okay, and then the only other thing you use on here is fresh ground cracked pepper. I have been making these mushrooms for years, and they always go over excellent whenever I feed them to anyone. Well, as long as that person likes mushrooms. Unfortunately, one of our best friends who lives just next door, who actually comes over for dinner quite often, hates mushrooms. So, and we all love mushrooms. So, sometimes that can be a little weird, but alright. But he's not coming over tonight to eat, so we're mushrooming it up. And there we go. That's it. Black pepper, butter or margarine, and a whole bunch of teriyaki sauce. Now, you don't want to use the teriyaki glaze. You want to use the kind that's in the bottle that's liquid, because the other stuff is too concentrated and too salty. and it will gum up and gets real sugary and it can burn. But you want to use the liquid kind. And just take your foil and kind of do this sort of deal. And then we're going to cover that up. And this is going to sit just like this for about an hour. And then I think I'm probably just going to stick these in with our baked potatoes. Which brings me to those. Let's prepare our baked potatoes. Stand by. Alright, we're going to do some potatoes. And I know you're thinking, well, this is pretty... I mean, who in the world would mess up a baked potato? And you're right. It is just about the easiest thing in the world to do. So, we're going to do 1 sweet potato, just a regular yam, 2 large bakers. And I have just rinsed these off. And we're using just some olive oil. It's actually really light olive oil. And you can use any kind of oil you want. You can use vegetable oil, canola. You can use bacon grease if you want to, which is actually really good, but pretty unhealthy. But okay, so we're just going to oil and spread that oil on the outside of the potatoes. And the sweet potato, we are not putting anything on it. The sweet potato is fine the way it is, just a little oil on the outside and that's it. Once you get the oil on the outside of the regular baked potatoes, though, we're going to put some coarse sea salt. And if you've ever been to a good steakhouse, they always do their baked potatoes like this, and it is awesome. And then some black pepper, and then turn them over. Ooh, a little bit of oil, not much, just a tad. Okay, a little bit right there. Okay. Note how I am brushing this sweet potato before getting it near the baked potatoes, because I don't want to get any of that salt on my sweet potato. So I'm going to actually try to, if any of that salt has gone over that way, I'm going to sort of sweep it over this direction. And yeah, you just don't want to get any of it, unless you like salt on your sweet potato, but I don't. I like sweet potatoes to be sweet. I don't like salty sweet potatoes. So, coarse ground sea salt and black pepper. And your potatoes are going to cook on, I cook mine on 375 for 30 minutes. Then take it out, flip it, 30 more minutes. My oven runs a little bit cool, so sometimes I even do them, you know, sometimes I like the outside of my baked potatoes to be really, really done. Like crispy, and you can do it like 375 for 35 minutes on each side, and that's real nice. And in fact, I think I might do it that way tonight. It sounds good. So, okay, there's our potatoes. They are ready to go. Now we move on to the main course, the pork chops. Stand by. Alright, let's prepare our pork chops. Now, here's a little disclaimer on this. I do barbecue a lot, as in traditional barbecue, like on a smoker with dry rubs and homemade sauces and different types of woods and different types of meats, you know, ribs, brisket, pulled pork, chicken, you name it. However, the whole idea of this particular recipe and this particular meal is to make a meal that's super easy, that seems like you spend a lot of time on it, and uses minimal ingredients. So that being said, we have several bone-in assorted pork chops, and inside this you know, bottle says Stubbed Spicy on here. However, what's inside this bottle is a combination of barbecue sauces that I love, which is the spicy stubs mixed 50-50 with a bottle of the original flavor Mark's Feed Store, which is their mustard base, and it is a really interesting spicy combination of sweet and a little vinegar, a little spice, a little mustard, a little you know, traditional, and it's just a really interesting blend. That's what I like for this. You can use any kind of barbecue sauce you want. I recommend something that's got a good hefty flavor though, because you don't want them to be bland. If you want to add a little dry rub to this, a little barbecue rub, you can. Don't add a lot, and try to add something that does not have a lot of salt in it, because they will get too salty. I am simply going to take this, and I know this goes against so many grilling rules and so many barbecue rules, but this is the way you do this, and it is delicious. I am just going to dump all of that sauce into this bowl on top of the raw chops. And I'm just going to mix it up. I'm not using any rubs on this or nothing. Just going to mix this up and let these chops sit in this spicy barbecue sauce for about an hour. And now this, you can do this overnight if you want, which would probably be a good idea, but this meal was actually a last minute decision, so I'm doing this on the fly. So just get this good and mixed up. Make sure, if you're going to do a combination of sauces in that jar or bottle like I did, make sure you shake it up real well so you get a good blend. But the spicy stubs mixed with the original Mark's Feed Store barbecue sauce is killer. It's not too sweet, not too spicy, it's not too mustardy, it's not too anything, and it's not too much anything. It's just, for me, it is a perfect blend. So just mixing this up, and we're going to let these just came out of the fridge, but we're going to cover this with foil, and we're going to let these chops sit right here on top of the stove for an hour. So now we don't have to do anything except wait until it's time to put the baked potatoes in the oven. So we've got about a half an hour to kill, so I'm going to turn the camera off and I'm going to go have a beer. We'll be back shortly. Stand by. Oven to 375. And I'm actually setting mine to 380 because, like I was saying, mine runs a little cool and I want 375, so I set mine to 380. When that preheats, we're going to stick our potatoes and the mushrooms in the oven at the same time, and we're going to set that for 35 minutes. Now let's go get our charcoal ready. Stand by. Okay, our coals are ready. I have them in a, it's hard to see in the way that the light is right now, but they're just in a little pyramid right there in the middle. And I'm not going to be putting these things directly on these coals. We're going to be using indirect heat. And under normal circumstances, I would be using some wood chips on this, but I just realized that I don't have any. So if you have wood chips that you can put on your fire to get some smoke on this, I highly recommend that. And like I said, I would, but I don't have any. I thought I did, but I'm out. So make sure your chops have a good coating on them, and put them not on top of the fire, but just to the side of the fire, because this barbecue sauce, with it having sugar in it, this barbecue sauce will burn, and it will burn quickly. So that is why you don't want to put these things directly on top of the fire. Okay, and then just whatever of this sauce you have left, just go ahead and put it on there. That one right there is going to cook quick because it's going to be right on top on the second shelf, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that. So, and then you want to cook this with the lid closed and, you know, let it go for a few minutes, and then you know, check on them. You don't want to, it's kind of a strange balance between checking on them and keeping the lid shut. But if you know how to grill, then you should be all right. Stand by. All right, these things should be just about done. Now what I've been doing is, as they get done, I've been putting them up in there and covering them. Yeah. All right, time to take them in. Now you want to cover these with foil and let them, when you take them in, let them sit for about 5-10 minutes or so before you try to cut into them, so they can rest. And all right, let's go see what we have finished here. Stand by. Here's the finished deal: pork chops and teriyaki mushrooms and our potatoes and some fixins, and it is time to grub. Thanks for watching.